speed, power, and grace. North America's finest young women athletes prepare for the ultimate challenge of their lives. With the Summer Games of the 22nd Olympiad just over the horizon in Seoul, South Korea, the time has come for the hours of long, hard work to pay off as the new quest for the gold begins. Today, an international field of the finest young women athletes in North America have gathered in the shadow of the San Antonio Hemisphere Tower. San Antonio, Texas, where the San Antonio River runs through the heart and soul of one of the Southwest's fastest-growing cities, and where its bright future is only surpassed by its storied history. From the Hemisphere Arena, Home Sports Entertainment and the San Antonio Sports Channel proudly presents the second annual Broadway Dodge Alamo City Women's Gymnastics Classic. Today's meet is being brought to you by School Pack, a new concept in fundraising for your organization. Hi, everybody, and welcome indeed to the Hemisphere Arena, where today we've got some excitement of gymnastics. And this being the start of what looks like to be another one of those great Olympic years, we've got some young ladies that may have some goal in their eye. I'll be here at courtside to look at all of the activity around the entire activity as we're on the San Antonio Spurs basketball floor that has been transformed today. Hutch Dvorak, who is the head gymnastics coach of Houston Baptist University, joins me after a quick trip in from Chicago where his team won the championship. We'll talk more about that in just a few moments in a meet there. But this is the start of the Olympic year, and you can kind of feel that excitement even though it's very, very early in the preparation.
That's right, Sam. We've got a lot of fine young female gymnasts here today that are just going to really wow this crowd. I know they do a lot of fine acrobatics, and their gymnastics is really exquisite. I think a lot of these girls here have hopes of the Olympics, and of course there's a lot of girls to crawl over on the way to that team. But this is the first step, as you said, in a series of about 5 or 6 meets before the Championships of the USA to be held in Houston on July 7 through 10.
And then, of course, the trials will be held out in Salt Lake City. That'll be in August. And then the ultimate, the Olympic Games, to be held in Seoul, South Korea in September. Well, a young lady that is certainly one of the competitors to vie for one of those spots is also joining us today from San Antonio, the current reigning Big 8 gymnastics champion, joining us today after her successful getting that championship in Ames, Iowa yesterday. This is Kelly Garrison-Steeves. And Kelly, we have seen you perform year in and year out now, and today we have a chance to look at maybe some fresh new competitors. And that's the name of the game getting started in this early Olympic year, to try to get some new names for us.
Yes, there's Wendy Bruce that just won the all-around last night. There's Monica Cavacci with a little international experience. She's from Canada. We will be seeing some fine competitors tonight, and we just hope that they do the best they can.
Kelly, we have made mention that it is quite early. Is it ever too early to try to get yourself psyched up and ready for the ultimate challenge of getting in the Olympic Games?
Well, actually, this competition is very early in their season. They will be competing for later on this month in some other national competitions to qualify for the Olympic trials this summer. This is very early. They might be throwing some new skills, but it'll be a great competition.
Well, at the ripe young age of 20 years of age, Kelly, of course, will be competing with many that you'll see here today in our competition. For Kelly, along with Hutch, will be joining you in just a moment for the first of the activities. We'll go to the vaults and the bars for the young ladies here in the second annual Broadway Dodge Alamo City Women's Gymnastics Classic right after this timeout. Hemisphere Arena, where indeed it is a gala afternoon for gymnastics as some of the best in North America get ready to challenge for the championship of the Broadway Dodge second annual Alamo City Women's Gymnastics Classic. We are honored to have some of the best competitors, and Scott Hewitt, our public address announcer, will introduce all of them to you this afternoon as they'll be competing again on the bars, the vault, the floor exercise, and the balance beam.
Gentlemen, I'm Scott Juden, and it is my pleasure, on behalf of Gymnastics Incorporated, to welcome you back to the Convention Center Arena and the final session of the 1988 Broadway Dodge Alamo City Women's Gymnastic Classic. Please welcome our finalists.
With the start of our activities today in the Alamo City Women's Gymnastic Classic from San Antonio, Texas, right after we pause for this timeout. Concluded, and the warm-up periods are coming to an end, as we'll start first of all on the vaults and the uneven parallel bars for the young ladies this afternoon. Hutch and Kelly have joined me here as we look on from the side of the venue here at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio. Kelly, let me ask, first of all, yesterday was the first day of the competition. They, of course, notified that the Browns Gymnastics Club out of the Orlando area won the championship, but the individuals carry over scores today. Could you explain how that is going to work as we look at the individuals aspiring for another championship today?
Well, on all the events today, the score that they received yesterday, perhaps say on vaulting, they will take their score from yesterday, add the score that they get today, their best score on vault today, and they will combine it, and that will be how they will place in the vault today. On bars, they take their best score, or their score today on bars, and their score yesterday, combine it, and that's how they will finish.
Hutch, as we take a look at the all-around competition of yesterday, Wendy Bruce may not have been that much of a surprise to her coaches, but certainly to some people here. She really did an excellent routine, first of all on the floor exercise, but carried it on for the championship yesterday, and it was quite a day for her to remember, I know.
Well, it's a big distance to beat the competition by 7/8 of a point when you only have 4 events. So she did a fine job on all 4 events and obviously showed consistency and the ability to beat her competitors.
You know, Kelly touched on the fact that this is very early in the competition, and we are looking at, of course, some brand new names. But as Kelly is well aware, anything can happen, and it normally does. Let's go first of all to our first, Nadia Mason. She is from the Caroli Gymnastics Club in Houston, Texas. They have got 2 teams here that competed last evening, and this is her first vault. Again, they will vault twice.
Sam, that was a round-off onto the board, and she followed that with a flip-flop onto the horse, and then the after-flight off. And this is the new trend in vaulting for women. And next year we think that the men will be doing this also. But as you can see by the replay, she does a round-off, flip-flop, and then a layout backflip, and a very strong landing, 1 step. That'll be a couple of tenths of a point.
Such a critical placement of the apparatus that gets, of course, the vaulter into the air, and she just, I think, lapped a foot or 2 over the edge of the board as she tried to get into the air towards the vaulting, the horse itself. So we'll find out as we once again have her second vault. And again, they do take the best score of the 2 vaults as the judges are looking on just to the left of the vaulting horse. Here it is. And, of course, a deduction of points there, and they will take the first of the vaults on that score.
We're just glad she's okay, Sam, because as we said, that can lead to a lot of danger. That's a very dangerous vault, and if you miss your hands, you've only got about a foot of the horse to touch. Now watch, she'll do a round-off onto the board. As she does her flip-flop, her hands just slip right off the edge, and we're just glad that she's safely into the mat. And of course, that's why we have such good mats in gymnastics. It can prevent a lot of disasters.
The irony of what we have just seen is the fact that both Hutch and Kelly were talking about that very thing as they were warming up a few moments ago. And Kelly, I know you've seen a great deal of injuries that have sidelined many, many careers in gymnastics.
Yes, this vault in particular has sidelined many competitors. Hopefully it won't happen with the training devices that they have now.
Debbie Bryant will be our first on the uneven parallel bars. Debbie, with the Gymnastics America of Houston, is 16 years of age. As a matter of fact, was 4th in the Western beam, which will be another one of the exercises she'll be performing on. This is her uneven parallel bar and her performance this afternoon. Debbie Bryant of Houston.
That's called a stalder, and that's a front flip, recatch. And of course, she stalls a little bit in that handstand, minor deduction there. Now the girls usually finish on the top bar. There's a giant swing, toe on, half turn, full twist dismount.
So as Debbie Bryant finishes on the bars, she gets a congratulatory hug from one of her teammates here as they too will be competing against one another. Kelly, one of the things about the scoring, and as Hutch has already pointed out, we've mentioned some of the deductions as we watch this routine once again. What are the judges looking for in these routines?
Well, of course, they're looking for a straight body, keeping your legs together, knees straight, and of course, sticking your dismount. She took a step to the side, and that is, of course, a deduction.
Now our second vaulter of the afternoon. This is Sandy Woolsey. Sandy Woolsey with her first vault, and nicely done.
The difference in that vault and the first girl we saw vault was that Sandy added a full twist to that flip off the horse. And she had a lot of power on it. It looks like she could keep her legs straight, and maybe she'll try that on the second vault.
I think that's one thing that people do not realize with the very slight build of these young ladies, that they do generate, first of all, a lot of speed down the runway, and the power is something that is, I don't think a lot of people really realize that.
Yeah, they sure do. And I really enjoy these new vaults, these round-off vaults, because they can get so much more height and flight on the post flight of the vault. So they're a lot more fun to watch than the conventional vaults, I think.
Sandy with her second vault. She's a 15-year-old. She works out with the Desert Devils out in Scottsdale, Arizona. She's performing today not only in the vault, the bars, but also the floor exercise a little later today.
Her coach is out there spotting her now for added safety. Incidentally, John Aiken, her coach, was an NCAA high bar champion. And she did try to keep her legs straight, but of course she bent a little bit going into the full twist and then straightened them out on the last part. Obviously, she's just trying to develop this vault, and as Kelly said earlier, that's why they come to these meets, to try to develop some new skills.
Good speed down the runway. There again is that very difficult mount once again, and then the dismount off the vault. She too will probably take her first. By the way, we will not be keeping you in the dark on the scores. We will be tabulating those with the scores of yesterday combined with the scores of today, and of course we'll be announcing the champions each of the 4 venues here coming up shortly. We move back to the bars once again. Tricia Fortson will be our next on the bars.
She's mounting off the board there. Very nice cast to handstand. You notice Kelly was talking about body line. This girl is obviously very pretty. She keeps excellent form. Real good body line. Here's a flip to the high bar. Now a giant swing. A little too much arch in that. And this is called a Jaeger flip to a mixed grip and a full twist to the low bar. That's very, very difficult. And there's a glide kip to the high bar again. Now she'll be preparing for a dismount. It's called a clear hip. Double back dismount. Very nicely done. Little cowboy. We call that a cowboy when they separate their legs like that, and it should be deduction, but fortunately the judges are sitting on the side, so I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Well, Tricia will be 17 years of age in 5 days on April the 1st, and of course trains out of the Caroli Gym once again over in Houston, Texas, a senior national member from Atlanta, Georgia.
See, there's that cross arm front flip. That was very exciting to watch.
It's very original also, and that will be added to her score.
We move back once again now to the vaults. Our third competitor of the afternoon is Dina Kalahar. Dina also from the Gymnastics America in Houston. And Hutch, you've had an opportunity, I know, to see quite a few of these gymnasts over in the Houston area with your fine program at Houston Baptist University.
That's correct. Dina did a conventional vault. She did a round off onto the horse and then did a flip off with a full twist.
Now, Kelly, when Hutch uses the word conventional type thing, does this detract from the score? Are the judges notified of what the difficulty of the vault will be?
Well, anymore, if you do a conventional vault, the difficulty is usually a little bit less, and doesn't necessarily mean that. It's whichever varies upon the individual. Here she goes again.
And she cut that one nicely, yes.
You notice she really flew that vault. She had a lot of power off the board. She's got strong legs, and she hit the board really fast, and that's the secret to vaulting. You have to hit the board fast, get your hands into the horse fast, and then you can get some repulsion off the horse and finish the vault.
There, she sticks her landing.